Hi Virgo, welcome to your December 2021 General Tarot reading. It's Rena here. Okay. I should probably, okay. All right. You have some good cards here. I'm going to pick one last card just as a clarification. Oh, interesting. Another major arcana card. I'm going to put it down here. It'll be off camera until I pull it up. Okay. So, at the center of this, that's the problem with these tight shots, isn't I can't hold it up. We have the Fool card, and this is a card of 0 point. This is the first card of the major arcana, and unlike the 1, which is the Magician, the 0 represents the unknown quantity, the unknown road ahead, but it's almost like you can co-create your own reality. You can, it's like the word that keeps coming in my mind is program. You can program your future by the decisions that you make. It's not like you're waiting for fate to swoop in and do something to your life. It's to me, it's a very active and adventurous kind of an energy. And I love whenever I get the Fool card when it's my sign of Sagittarius. I always love that because I know that it's a whole new chapter. And this can be in your life as a whole. If you feel like you're just like totally reinventing yourself and going off in a new direction and being very bold and but at the same time, being bold, but also not being tied down to anything. It's almost like this kind of free-spirited energy as well, and nonconformist energy. And this card is actually connected to Taurus. To Uranus. I was thinking about Uranus being in Taurus, and that might have something to do with it because Uranus is in Taurus. And, Taurus is a fellow earth sign like you, Virgo, and it is in your 9th house, which can be long distance travel. So if there are any Virgos out there who are either anticipating that they're going to be traveling or they want to, you're going to be more likely to travel in a way that is not like what do you call it, heavily with an itinerary or something like that, like heavily scheduled. It's more like this kind of wandering or exploration quality to it. And because Virgos tend to be very organized and very scheduled, this is a departure for you from that type of mentality and lifestyle. So it can be very freeing, in other words. And it might even be for some of you that you're going to travel far away. And part of that is so that you can get away from the pressure to be something that other people want you to be. And you feel like if you have some distance between you and the people around you in your daily life, that you can become who you want to be. That kind of thing. In the past position, we have the 7 of Swords, and this is kind of, sometimes this can be a deceptive energy where somebody is pulling one over on you. And I do have some other cards here that would go along with that. Kind of, this is a card of like you being suspicious and things like that. And so this is coming from the past. So this may be why you have this card of liberation with the Fool card, is that, you know, you finally were willing to acknowledge that this had been happening, and allow yourself to break free from that. So if, let's say this was a marriage where somebody was stepping out on you, but this could also be, this card represents like strategizing as well as getting out of a situation using your cunning. So an example is like if you are unhappy in the workplace and you want out, but in some cases you may not want to actually leave that company, and you finagle a way to work remotely, and then you're able to travel because you don't need to be in the physical office space and that kind of thing. And that's another thing. Yeah, that's another thing I didn't say about Uranus in the ninth house. Uranus is about technology. And it's like with the ninth house, it's like traveling far and wide using technology. So that can certainly relate to working remotely. But the, you know, that interpretation of the Seven of Swords boils down to finding a very clever way to extricate yourself from a situation, using your cunning to do so. So whether it's a relationship or whether it is a job situation where you're either getting away from it so that you can be free, or that you, or if you stay with that company, you find a way to get away from whatever it is that is tying you down, and maybe you still work for them, but like I said, you might do it through your own travels. The higher message is the Magician. So whatever's going on with your life, there is this element of you creating your own reality, you taking what you have now and making something from it. In other words, if you are not pleased with what you're doing, you're not going to say, well, I'll wait until I do this, that, and the other thing to be able to change my circumstances. No, you're saying, I'm going to work with what I have. And I'm not going to use certain circumstances as an excuse not to make needed changes in my life. And by doing so, you feel that sense of empowerment, self-empowerment. The Magician's a very resourceful card. And so it can be very empowering to be able to solve your problems on your own. There's a self-reliance factor with the Magician, probably because it's number one, and so it's like the self, you know, being able to do things for yourself. What crosses you is the Ten of Swords. This is a card of betrayal. This is the card of the end of maybe a chapter in your life that has been rather painful or difficult in some way. I would say even disappointing, like you trusted somebody that turned out to be not in your corner. What the challenge is, or the danger is that you hold on to these old grievances. So as you're moving into a new phase, you want to wipe the slate clean, so to speak. And that's where I'm getting that 0 point from. You're not like bringing that old baggage with you, because the number 10 of this card connects to the end of a cycle. And so, swords relate to conflict, so it can be the end of a conflict. but also thoughts. And so how this can translate is that you have to put an end to those thoughts and that conflict. And it comes from your own ability to put it behind you, that you're not clinging to it, you're not holding on to it, and you're fully ready to move on. What is coming in is the Page of Swords. This is a card of somebody who is maybe taking notes, taking names and numbers. I forgot how that saying goes. And you might be documenting something if you're still in the workplace and you're dealing with a transition period. You might have to be aware of what's going on around you, because if there is somebody who is like the Seven of Swords, that person could even be stealing your ideas and taking credit for them. And you might feel like, I need a total reset in my life. And yet you're still kind of tied to that job. So you have to make a case for yourself, and you're going to be documenting things. Otherwise, this could be a new day dawning in terms of your thought process. Is it processes? I always think that's a weird way of saying it. That you're no longer thinking of things in the same way. And this can also be about certain people in your life, that you are going to be more diligent in paying attention to how other people around you are behaving. This is the spy card. So sometimes, like I said, people are actually investigating things because they need it for some kind of either a legal matter or the equivalent of a legal matter when you're when you work at a company, like I don't know, arbitration. I don't know exactly how they describe it, but where there's a mediator and things like that that comes between you and your employer, and you have to make certain charges. And this may be so that they will let you go and you get like the benefits, like you're not getting punished for leaving or anything like that. This can also just be a higher level of awareness, because you may have allowed something to fester because you weren't willing to look at it, like somebody that was cheating you in some way, and you kind of look the other way, and you have to be more vigilant, in other words. The outcome is the Moon card. Now, this could be a timing card. The reason I picked an additional card is because the Moon card can sometimes indicate that there is some kind of confusion or delusion, like even within the self, the delusion, the person is not willing to see what's really there. They're being rather in denial, or they're confused. They're simply confused. They don't know what to think. Maybe that person is gaslighting you, telling you things that are not true, and it is causing you to question your own perception. And that's exactly what gaslighting does. And that's another thing too. I mean, the fact that I have several swords, I mean, this could be a literal air sign. So Gemini is definitely, out of all the air signs, I think the one that you would be attracted to, because it's ruled by Mercury, and it's also a square to you. But the other air signs are Aquarius and Libra. And one of the things that the air signs do is they gaslight when they are imbalanced. They gaslight and they lie. They twist the truth because they are the communicators. And whenever a sign is imbalanced and it's trying to protect itself, it will take the qualities of its element or its suit and use it in a very destructive way. So with Swords, it's all about, playing mind games and distortions of the truth, getting inside your head, getting you to question yourself. So you may be like in a very confused state right now. And actually, that's another thing too, because the moon connects with Pisces in the tarot. It's actually the ruler of the moon in the astrology. But for whatever reason, maybe because of what the moon represents, it really dovetails quite well with Neptune and the ruler of Pisces. And Neptune just went direct, and it's stationed there, and it's going to stay at this degree. I don't know how long. And that's supposed to be very powerful when it does that, when it stations retrograde or direct. But this is your opposite sign. So wherever it is in your chart, it can show, I mean, even like if we're talking about the sun, this would be in your solar 7th house, and so you've had some issues maybe with a deceptive partner. And also another thing too is Venus is going retrograde in December. I have a whole astrology forecast for your sign, Virgo, that's on my site, on my channel, I mean. But just to say it briefly, you have this Neptune trans in the 7th house and Venus going retrograde on December 19th in Capricorn, and and that's actually your 5th house. So that could bring an ex into your life as well, ex-love, for better or worse. And then I picked a clarification card, and I got the Judgment card. So the Judgment card can be a card of talking about cause and effect. Some people say karma, that you just have to accept as par for the course with the events that have happened. So, and also I was going to say something about judgment itself, is like having good judgment. And the moon card, like I was saying, can be delusion. So if you have a tendency, Virgo, to have a bit of a pattern of kind of sticking your head in the sand, you don't like to see the truth about people that are close to you, and this might be especially with a significant other, but doesn't have to be. I mean, it could be with your child. It can be with anybody, with a parent. And you want to see the best in that person, but sometimes people are very detrimental to your well-being, and they have to be avoided. That you can't have that close of a relationship with, because they're not treating you the way you deserve to be treated, and all of that kind of thing. That can lead to not having the best judgment because you want it to be other than what it is. This is especially true for people who have the moon in Pisces, who have their moon opposing or squaring Neptune. If you see that in your chart, you can definitely see some of those same traits. Or Mercury, the same thing. So the other thing about this is, if you are getting divorced, or this is kind of like something that you feel is inevitable, this is just kind of a confirmation card that is the right thing to do. And obviously that would have to be with other factors that have already transpired in your relationship, that would be the right thing to do. So anyway, that's what I have for you, Virgo. I hope that this resonated. If you would like a private reading, I do a lot of astrology readings. I promote my double reading, deep dive reading, which is a reduced price for 2-hour-long readings. One chart analysis and the other important transits for the next 12 months, like eclipses and things like that. You can find out more information at the link below. Thank you for watching. Take care. Bye.